Alright, welcome to the Fellowship of the Fortified Tower. This is Manny Rounds, your host, and this is another morning SITREP. It's August 22nd. It's actually about 9:30 in the evening, but by the time I get this loaded, it'll be morning. Anyhow, so a lot has happened in the last week or so. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Once again, I have this map up here. I apologize a little bit for the condition of the map. It's been through a lot, and I have another one coming, but it's not here yet. So we'll just rough it with this one. But it does show enough of what's going on, and so we have a total FUBAR in Afghanistan right now, and it's setting the stage for these events. All right, there's a lot involved here. We have influences already have entered Afghanistan from, I guess you could say, the Chinese bloc, and they wasted no time getting there and having chit-chats with the leader of the Taliban over there in Afghanistan. During the week also there have been some vibrations coming out of China towards Taiwan, and the North Koreans and the South Koreans. This whole thing is what's really going on here. All right, you're probably not going to ever hear this on the mainstream media, but or on too many other media sites. But you're looking at a complete restructuring of the world, and there's a small group who are orchestrating it, and they are influenced by their father. And that's just the way things are developing from the biblical perspective. This map displays some of the things that Chuck Youngbrandt was shown by the Lord years ago, and these events are now upon us, and that is what's happening. Over in Afghanistan, you've got a serious problem, but it's like a rock in a pond where you've got rings that go out from all directions that affect the rest of the pond, and it's a serious matter. The United States has got itself in a position where it's being diminished. All right. There may be a reaction from this that may to try to correct it in some way as far as the saving face goes, and it will probably be some sort of overreaction if things keep going the way they're going. It seems every day there's something, it just gets worse and worse. It goes by. There are some strange things going on in the military. I've been monitoring some other sites as far as movements of military, and some things, they're not being publicized on the news, but there have been some mobilizations of troops and gear and hardware from the United States to an unknown location or locations, and I was listening to some news on it's Tucker Carlson's show. He had some guest on or whatever. He was talking about all this stuff, and he's just like, because the mainstream media, the CNN and such, are they're kind of turning on Biden here, and they were very instrumental in helping set him up and put him in place. Uh, However, you know, it was done. It was done, and he's in there. And but now they're throwing him under the bus, and there's, let's just say that he may not be in there very long. There's a lot of other people in our government that are talking about having him step down, and nothing happens by accident. You know, a lot of this is pre-planned. It's not like this is some big conspiracy theory. Okay, you're watching it happen in front of you. So conspiracy, it may very well be, but it's no theory. This is just stuff that's happening. I mean, they put him in there. He was kind of weak to begin with, and knowing that at any time they can create a scenario where they can just basically chuck him under the bus and drive on and put somebody else in there. And I can see that could be their plan all along. Years ago I had a dream about Obama, and this was back when I think he was even president at the time. And it was about Star Wars. Okay, he was the emperor, and in this it was a quick little vision, and I saw him in a hood and the whole, 9 yards. He looked like the dark Sith Lord, and he had there was a lot of stormtroopers that were lined up in front of him, thousands of them, and they were all in perfect formation. And then behind him was this large demonic being, and I saw the words "stormtroopers in place." So I prayed about that, and I've been, it's always been there in my mind about watching these events unfold, and I can see Obama returning to the scene in some fashion. So I was thinking about this, and I felt led to look up in the Constitution the amendments regarding succession, of how presidents are elected and chosen, and how they are brought into office. Well, I was reading it, and I read it pretty close, and I saw that there's a sort of a backdoor way that they can get him back in there. And it says in there that a president cannot be elected more than twice, okay? He can't be elected to a third term. That is true. However, let's say that you have a situation where you have a president who's in office. You have a president that has already done 2 terms, right? And then he's out. And then you have another person come in, and now he's president. And then let's say his vice president, is chosen, and he becomes some way unable to execute his office. So the vice president now becomes president, okay? Congress or whoever decides to remove the president, and the vice president now becomes president. Well, now that vice president is president of the United States. So that president is going to need a vice president, and that president can appoint anyone he chooses to be vice president as long as it's approved by Congress. Or I believe that's the case. Anyway, so let's say that Ms. Harris becomes president, and she needs a vice president. Well, she suggests Obama, okay? And Obama, more than happy to accommodate that. And the popularity of Obama, which, it's just a fact. He was popular with a lot of people in the United States. And they would just be happier than heck to have him back in there. So he becomes vice president, right? Well, then let's say Kamala decides, she doesn't want to be president anymore, or she becomes incapacitated in some way. And then who's president? Well, it would be the vice president, and that would be Obama. And so that would be sort of a backdoor way for him to get back in there. I was looking at it pretty closely, and it looks possible to me that they could pull some shenanigan like that. So, in light of what's going on with our current president, or he is there. Anyhow, that scenario could play out. Somehow, I would imagine something close to that. So, meanwhile, okay, you've still got this problem over here in the Middle East brewing, getting worse. Now, let's say we overreact and we send a whole bunch of hardware back over there, and we've got people over there and that are basically potential hostages of a hostile regime or regimes, and they're in immediate peril right now, and unless there's some, if the Taliban want to be the good guy and just provide a safe corridor for everyone just to go to the airport and get out, which I don't see that really happening. They've got a chip there. I don't think they want to give it up. So until our government makes a decision one way or the other, unless they've already made the decision, and there are troops and there is hardware, and there may very well even be an aircraft carrier steaming towards that area right now, to add to the existing carrier battle group. I believe it's Ronald Reagan that's over there right now. We have, I think, the Carl Vincent in this general area, and the Abraham Lincoln is over here also, as far as I know. There's a site you can go on and check out and see where the carrier battle groups are at. It's called Naval Tracker, U.S. Naval Tracker, and it gives you a general idea of kind of where they are. It doesn't include every ship and every carrier battle group for obvious reasons, but and I noticed there was on the last Naval Tracker they showed the Abraham Lincoln here in this general area, and I believe the Carl Vincent, and then the next one they didn't show the Abraham Lincoln here, but the Vincent was still there, and I found that kind of a little odd. And anyhow, so the Abraham Lincoln they were on station out here in this area last year, and I think they came back in January, or late last year they came back. They were on a little bit of an extended tour over there, a few months, and then they came back to San Diego as their new home port. But I know that the Abraham Lincoln is going to end up going back over here at some point. And there's a prophet, his name is, I believe it's Byron Searle, and or Jeff Barley. And he and others have seen, and I've had a dream of a carrier myself, and it wasn't good. Anyway, so he saw, and others have seen, the Ronald Reagan and the Abraham Lincoln, sunk. There's 6,000 people on board those ships, roughly, on each ship, and that's not including the escorts that come with them. And if there's a conflagration over here where it gets into nuclear weapons, like Chuck had seen, then I pray for all those sailors. And back in the days when I was in the Navy, there weren't any women on board carriers. Nobody even thought of it. You know, it was just something nobody even thought of. But a lot has happened since then. And as of today, recently, I believe it was in January, we now have a female commander of an aircraft carrier, and it happens to be the Abraham Lincoln. And she was an aviator. She's an aviator, and she is in command of the boat. And I pray for her too. Amy Bryan, I can't remember her last name exactly, but she's from Wisconsin. So put your prayers out for that lady, because she's got a tiger by the tail there. And all her troops that are under her command. If you know anybody that might be on the Abraham Lincoln, pray for them, or the Ronald Reagan, or any of our ships out there, because they're definitely in harm's way. And right now, as it stands, the wolves see that the United States has troubles, confusion of face, and they're sharpening their teeth is what they're doing. So let's say there's also another issue over here that a lot of people aren't talking about, and that is oil. All right, China's right here, okay? Afghanistan is right here, and you've got Iraq and Iran right here, and there's a lot of oil in these countries, okay? And the Chinese know they want that. They want this oil, and now, guess what? Now they can make a deal with the Talibanis, and the Talibanis can make a whole bunch of money if they just let the Chinese build a little pipeline right through there and get all the oil they ever want from this area right here. But they're going to have to gain control eventually of this Gulf, okay? And it would save the Chinese a whole lot of cost in shipping. Instead of dragging their boats all the way around, you know, they can just have a little pipeline run right across there, right over to here. And they can have all the oil they ever wanted for all their little operations that they have planned. And that's something to think about. So it could be, you know, one of the reasons why all this is going on right now too, because I don't believe that while we were there, the Chinese were able to just pull off and do some wheel deal where they can get all that oil if they want it. But now they can. So I don't see them just allowing the United States to go back in there and set up camp again and establish some sort of mutual jurisdiction in that area. The United States is, well, we basically handed over a whole heck of a lot of hardware and left a base, a very, very well constructed base over there, and it wasn't cheap, and there's a lot of vets right now that are they're a little hot, and I do not blame them. There's a lot of our own people that are over there right now that would just love to go in there and rescue those people. And the powers that be over here are not, as yet, pushing to have that happen. That there's other people that are trying to go in there. We've got private citizens, private contractors that are trying to help in some way. It's turned into a gigantic foobar. Anyhow, so this event, it looks to me like this isn't too far off, because we start sending a whole bunch of hardware over here to. Now, where are they going to go? Where are our troops now? We can't go back into Afghanistan in a huge force. Not too readily, not too quick. the Taliban now have a whole bunch of night vision devices and a whole bunch of nasty weapons that are designed to blow airplanes out of the sky and aircraft out of the sky. They've got a whole lot of nice squad automatic weapons, A4s, which are like a short version of the AR-15 or the M16. And then who knows what else they've got, because a lot of the stuff that was there is probably classified. They're not going to put that out, what's over there. All right, so where are these guys going to go? They can't go to Afghanistan, I don't think. I mean, they could airdrop a whole bunch of people in there. There's going to be a bloodbath, but anyway. Where are they going to set their base, though? They already have a base here in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia. That's, I think, the closest place they can actually set up or stage a large force of people. And if this causes a reason for them to do that, that's probably where they're going to end up going. Now, if that's the case, okay, it's a perfect setup. It's a perfect trap, because we send a whole bunch of our hardware and people back over here to come in here and rescue all these people or protect the oil. Let's say somebody moves against the oil now, or they blow up a ship in the Gulf just to get us, hot, because that's going to seriously affect the oil supplies in the United States. That's just where we are right now, as far as being vulnerable to that. So they caused some conflagration over here, and then we end up bringing a whole bunch more people back over here, ships and everything, and then boom, they got us where they want us, okay? And they drop it, boom, and they sink a few of our boats, and then we got worse problems than we have now. And then the North Koreans go, well, I think it's time. And China says, okay, it's time. Let's go get Taiwan. And, we have for years guaranteed Taiwan that we'll be there for them if push comes to shove with China. Well, at that point, I don't see the United States being able to project enough power in this area to adequately protect and defend and push China back from Taiwan. And especially with North Korea's invading South Korea, you got 30,000 roughly troops in South Korea that are protecting, that area. And we've got some troops in Japan. We may have some troops in Australia, and speckled throughout here, and in Hawaii, okay? So a lot of our carriers right now I think we've got maybe 4 that are actually operational at the moment. The rest of them are in different stages of either refit or refueling or getting worked on, or just, they're in port. So it would take a while for them to spool back up. I always thought, they decommissioned the Enterprise, and they started tearing apart. They started tearing into it, and I felt that was a mistake. They should have pulled it in port and kept it ready for a while, especially at the state of readiness of our other carriers. The number of our other carriers that are actually combat ready right now is not too great. And we lose 2 carriers over here, we've lost probably 50% of our active force, and which creates a whole slew of other problems too. But anyway, I felt that was a large mistake. I mean, I think they detuned the reactors, or pulled them out, or shut them off, or whatever they've done. They removed the mast. They're removing a whole bunch of gear out of it. So that carrier is now basically just a steel box. It's not going to be able to do anything. We have problems with our new carrier, the Ford. and it's a new class of carrier they're coming out with. I think they laid the keel on the new Enterprise CV-80, but it's going to be a long time before that's in the water, if ever. But especially if these, now it's kind of coinky-dink that these missiles, okay, one of them hits Virginia, and that's where Newport News and shipbuilding is. That would put a serious damper on our shipbuilding and refit capabilities right there. A computer glitch, you know, but it's kind of a very fortuitous computer glitch that's going to affect a lot of things in this general area. So these events, okay, they're, according to what Chuck saw, they happen all within a very short time frame of each other. So that's what we're looking at. That's the bigger picture. Now, you know, stay tight with the Lord. Don't be getting into fear all about it. These are things the Lord has warned us about that are coming. You know, there's the book of Daniel, Revelations, Ezekiel, and Isaiah, and all these things have been spoken of, and the Lord's warning His people right now. So He'll never leave us or forsake us. All right, we keep following Him, keep tight with Him. We're just going to witness a lot of this kind of stuff going on, and we need to be praying for the lost and interceding for the people that are in these situations. And we're all in this situation. Okay, on the earthquake situation. I was monitoring Dutch Sench's site again this evening, and he has projected that there may be a 9-pointer somewhere out here near the Kamchatka Peninsula because of the fact that other seismic events that are going on in the area. I believe this is the last day for his 1-week forecast for a quake in California or a quake up here in northern Chile. And I don't know if the Chile quake happened or not. I don't think the California quake has happened yet. Now he could be a little off, and it could happen in a few days, or it could happen not at all. It just depends. It's kind of hard to do this, what he's doing. He doesn't always get it exactly right, but he is pretty darn close to, close enough to where a lot of people thank him a lot for saving their lives. Okay, so a 9-pointer would be quite an event out here. I mean, it would cause a lot of shaking and rattling along this trench here near Japan. It'll cause a lot of pressure being sent this way off towards the United States, especially in the Cascadian Range here. And it'll disturb this whole plate again, and the shock waves, and it may cause another quake down towards the south. Also, it's hard to say, but that's a pretty large. I mean, the last 9-pointer I believe that we've had was the one that caused the Fukushima situation in Japan back in 2011. That's a good sized quake, and there are all these quakes, as far as the United States is concerned, with the large quake that's going to hit in the Chicago area at some point, and there'll be the Boston, St. Louis, possibly one in California. Now these also another thing that I forgot to mention, I believe, in my earlier briefings, was because of these bombs going off and other bombs that will go off later. A good portion of Florida is going to be underwater. It's sinking slowly right now. I mean, there's a lot of sinkholes and disturbances and buildings falling down and such that are happening right now in Florida. So it'd be something to watch for. If I lived in Florida, I would be I would be a person. I would be looking for another place to go. Anyhow, so there's that. Now I see a lot of different things going on as far as this area here. Okay, there could be some moves toward Israel as well pretty soon. I believe it was a young lad, a 15-year-old, who saw, he died and he went to heaven, and the Lord showed him some things. And later he came back, and this kid was a secular kid. He wasn't religious in any way. He was at some meeting with some Orthodox Jewish people, some rabbis, and this one rabbi took him under his wing and kind of explained to him some of the things he saw that were in Scripture, and then later he gave a little briefing to some of these students of this rabbi of the things he saw, and they all lined up with Scripture. But one of the things I believe he saw was Obama starting this war over here in the Middle East, and the Israeli Defense Force only lasts 2 days because of all the different military armies that are going to be coming up against her. And I believe it starts with somebody. He believed it was the Iranians, but they have a nuclear missile in Libya, and they launched the first one, and it hit somewhere in Israel. And after that, it's just a large exchange of nuclear weapons all over the place. So that could be after this happens. See, for a lot of this to occur, America is going to have to be quite diminished in power for these other actors to come into play. So what you're seeing is that happening right now. And let's say there is some change of command as far as the United States goes up in the near future. I don't see Biden in there very much longer, but let's say this transaction takes place. Whoever's in power, whether it be Obama or not, I don't think it's going to matter. Because of the confusion and face that this country is undergoing right now, it's just going to be, it's just whatever that we do, it's going to be wrong. So, and eventually we'll be to some point where when this quake hits, okay, in the Chicago area, it'll be the last straw, basically, and because the Chinese and the Russians and their allies, they are going to go in here with as little risk as possible. So they're going to wait until that moment arrives, and when that moment arrives, that's when they go. All right, so there was some. I was watching some show on Chinese power, the rise in Chinese military prowess, and there was a quote. I don't remember the fellow's name, but he said, "There cannot be two tigers on the same hill," and that is just something to think about. All right, so okay. All right, so pray for these people. All right, there's 6,000 guys and gals on that boat, and I have a strong feeling that pretty soon they're going to be deployed over there, if they're not already steaming out there already. And I didn't even talk about the southern border. of the United States. But because of all this snafu going on over here, okay, this is kind of diminished in off the news a little bit, off the radar. But there's a lot of movement against our border right now. There's a lot of well, they're not good. A lot of them are not good people, okay? They've been coming across the border for quite some time, but our border patrol is overwhelmed to the point where the morale on the border patrol is really suffering. And, you know, there's people from the Middle East coming across now. There's all kinds of, you might say, people from these areas, okay, that are coming up in here. And where they're being sent to and where they're going, only God knows, but I don't think a lot, you know, the high percentage of them that are coming in are here for good reasons. So there's that to think about too. And all this is happening, it's all kind of converging. So keep your preps up. There's probably a lot of these guys right here that are coming, all right? And they've been here a while. This is, like I said, this was one large military op. And it's a very well orchestrated, well planned, very well executed military op. All this, you know, think about, they're pushing to have a lot of our troops, you know, get them vaccinated, get them vaccinated, get them vaccinated. Well, you know, this whole vaccinated thing, if let's say they vaccinate as many troops as they can, right? There's always going to be a few holdouts. And let's say all those guys within 6 months or 7 months, but they start developing medical problems, and because you know it's not good anyway. So they all get sick. Now you've got a military that has, on top of issues of deployments and attrition and a lessened pool to replenish your supply of troops from, they've got everybody sick as dogs. And then, you know, who's going to want to go in the military? Who's going to want to join up and go get their, you know, their little jab and get sick? Anyhow, so there's that. Also, pray for these people. You know, the day is coming when I can, like in Australia right now, they don't have much choice, okay? And that situation is coming here. So, you know, it says, he causeth all to receive this, you know, these things. And, you know, it wouldn't say that unless he has the power to do it, or they have the power to do it. And you can see in the bigger picture how they are squeezing, they're squeezing you. They're squeezing, you know, you can't go get a job. You can't go to the store. That's already happening in Australia and other places, France. And there's a lot of uproar. And then you got people that are pushing to, you know, making you, it's persecution. If you stick to your guns, you're going to get persecuted. And, you know, just remember, they will never leave you or forsake you, no matter what. So don't give in. That's all. Don't give in. Don't let them cower you or con you. It's a war. It's a battle. It's a war. This is a spiritual war, and he's a prince of the power of the air, and they're using that to pump their propaganda, and it's working. Brainwashing works. The Russians, they have been doing it a long, long time, and they did it back in 75, 80 years ago in Germany. Everybody wonders how did the German people allow it to happen to them? Well, guess what? You're watching it happen. You're watching it happen to the United States of America right now, and other countries. Now it's a worldwide psyop is what's happening. So, anyway, this video may not be up long. So, but I felt it was, it's important. Stick to your guns, okay? Don't give up your guns either. I was looking at the numbers of people, that were in the military over the last 245 years, the number of people that had been killed, and the number of people that were wounded, and who gave everything so that you would have the rights that are spelled out in the Constitution of the United States. And you have those rights whether there's a Constitution of the United States or not. They're God-given rights. You have, you possess the right to defend yourself. You possess the right to be able to say what you think is right, and to do what is right, and to protect your families. And all those people, and all the people that are serving right now, are sacrificing for you to have these rights, and have done so. The veterans of Vietnam, the veterans of Iraq, the veterans of World War II, Korea, that are still living, it's like taking a file to their teeth when you just hand over your sovereignty of your person to this evil brainwash coercion. It's Antichrist, period. And keep prepping. Those who got an ear to hear it, keep prepping. There are some vibrations going on with our supply chains right now. So don't dilly-dally. Say your prayers, do your preps. I'm going to do another little video on the backpack. Pretty quick here. I need to get that out. And next week, who knows what's going to happen, within the next week here. But you're probably going to hear a lot about them trying to ramp up some kind of mission to go over there and save those people. But it's hard to say. And more hoopla about removing Biden. So keep your ear open for that. But in one way or another, this event's going to happen. And there may be some other terrorist attack within the United States also that helps them to, put a few more nails down on constricting us even further as far as our liberties go. So keep your eyes open and say your prayers. Carry on, and don't give up. It looks a little bleak, I admit, even to me, but I count on His promises to me, and He's never let me down, and He'll never let me down, and He'll never let you down either. You just stick with Him. You stick with Him, He'll stick with you. Don't give up. You know, there's a whole slew of people underneath that altar at some point that didn't love their lives to death, you know, so much that they weren't willing to die for him. And that's what's coming. So just know it and realize it and prepare yourself for that. Gird your loins and read your sword, and you'll be all right. This is Many Rounds, August 22nd, 2021, signing off. Many Rounds here. I wanted to add this little piece on here to let you guys know something I heard. I was in prayer, and I was praying about some other things, and as I was praying, I heard U.S. warships on the brink of destruction, just like that. And I wanted to, it's for somebody out there. If you know somebody in the Navy right now, or you have relatives in the Navy, family, friends, kids you know or you taught in school, anyhow, pray for them, because I mean, even if I hadn't heard that, I know that's going to happen anyway. But it just sort of confirmed it to me, and you know, it makes your heart sink when you think about it, really. But he's good to warn us of these things, the Lord. And I wanted to get it out there, so you know, if there are folks out there that may have kids out there. The waters are not friendly anymore. Not that they were ever really friendly, but they certainly aren't now. And you know, there are plans out there by our enemies to destroy us, and that's what the enemy does. Is he destroys. That's one of the things he does. So I just wanted to get that out. I think it's the 23rd today. I'm going to load this up and get it out. So have a blessed day, and watch your six. Many Rounds, signing out.